stories start from a victim named Donny Dunn reported to the police that he was being stalked by an older woman. He said she had been following him at work and home and sending him numerous emails for 6 months. The officer asked why he hadn't reported it sooner. Donny recalled meeting Martha Scott at the bar where he worked. His initial impression was one of pity. She was a middle-aged, overweight woman crying quietly at the bar. She claimed to have no money. Donny offered her tea, which improved her mood. Martha told him she owned a law firm, several apartments, and associated with famous politicians. Donny was skeptical, wondering why she couldn't afford tea if her claims were true. Donny, who had moved to London to be a comedian, was now 30, working a dead-end job and living with his ex-girlfriend's mother. Despite this, he still pursued his comedy dream, but his audiences didn't appreciate his humor, making him feel like a failure. He was flattered when Martha seemed to see him as the person he aspired to be. Martha began visiting the bar daily, wearing different makeup and dresses. Donny found it strange that she tried to appear busy despite spending all her time at the bar. Martha always ordered a Diet Cola with ice, which Donny often gave her for free. She never drank it, instead talking about her supposed exciting life. Donny found this amusing. Martha frequently complimented him, admiring his looks. Donny was intrigued by her. One day, Martha invited him to her birthday celebration. Donny was unenthusiastic, which seemed to upset Martha. Realizing she might not have been popular with men and only experienced the rich and famous through social media, Donny began complimenting her. On her 43rd birthday, Donny told her she looked youthful. When Martha suggested a picnic, he agreed. Martha was happy, calling Donny her baby reindeer, and asking for his number. He didn't give it to her, just asking for a time and place. Donny considered it a joke, but Martha seemed to take it seriously. His colleagues joked that she was his girlfriend, making the situation awkward. Donny had hoped Martha would understand it was a joke, but she appeared to be serious. Then the emails started, about 80 a day, supposedly from an iPhone which she didn't seem to own. She made elaborate preparations for the picnic, buying champagne, a blanket, and a basket. Donny tried to explain that picnics were romantic and a bad idea. Martha became upset, asking what friends usually did. Donny suggested coffee. Martha agreed. Donny reluctantly went to a cafe with her. Martha smiled constantly and laughed loudly at his jokes. He clarified that they could only be friends, but Martha hoped for friends with benefits. When the waitress came to take their order, Martha admitted she had no money and Donny paid. When he asked how she got his email, Martha said she found it online. Donny was uncomfortable when Martha mentioned his performance videos. He made her promise not to tell anyone at the bar about them. Donny also shared his failed comedy dream. Martha offered support. Suddenly, she aggressively demanded the names of his ex-girlfriends, which angered him. He asked for the bill. Despite everything, Martha seemed happy. Donny knew Martha wasn't the millionaire lawyer she claimed to be, and her behavior unsettled him. He decided to follow her to find out who she was. She lived in a rundown apartment and spent her evenings emailing him. This situation preoccupied Donny. During his next performance, the audience was unresponsive, but Martha laughed throughout. Donny, surprised by her presence, made jokes about Martha, gaining applause. Martha was pleased to make him happy. After the performance, Martha complimented Donny and hugged him tightly. He didn't pull away because she made him feel valued. However, everything changed when Martha confessed her love for him. Seeing Donny's reaction, Martha berated herself, saying she had ruined everything. He reassured her. Later, Donny received a Facebook friend request from Martha and browsed her profile, which had photoshopped pictures of her with celebrities. He saw a photo of himself. Googling Martha Scott, he discovered she had been a lawyer but was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison for stalking a man. Horrified, Donny hesitated but accepted Martha's friend request. He couldn't explain why, perhaps it was recklessness, but he never unfriended her. Maybe she was just unhappy? Soon, Martha commented on all of Donny's photos, even the oldest ones. She became jealous of his exes and left strange comments about his activities. Then she started sending Facebook messages. Donny ignored them. Today was his 6th date with Terry. He preferred meeting her at a bar on the outskirts of town. He had met Terry, a psychologist, on a trans dating website. Using the name Tony, he created a new identity. Donny hated himself for this but feared the truth being discovered. He had fallen deeply in love with Terry, who was genuine. He was afraid someone he knew might see them together. Meanwhile, Martha continued stalking Donny, becoming more persistent and expressing her dislike of him being in photos with other women. Martha was jealous and believed they were a couple. Donny worried what would happen if Martha found out about Terry. Their meeting had to be prevented. Donny decided to tell Terry everything because he trusted her. Terry advised him to go to the police, but Donny hoped the situation would resolve itself. After all, Terry didn't know his real name or workplace. Every shift, Martha waited for Donny at the bar. This time he asked her to pay for her Coca-Cola, setting clear boundaries. Realizing Donny had no feelings for her, Martha cried. He explained it wasn't about her but her age, as he wanted a big family, which would be an issue. Upset, Martha left. That evening she bombarded Donny with emails insisting on her fertility. Now Martha came to the bar every morning 2 hours before opening and followed Donny, fantasizing about their wedding. Wherever Donny went, Martha was there. She even suggested names for their 3 children. The more Donny distanced himself, the more obsessive she became. When he learned she planned to attend his semi-final, Donny panicked and asked Gregsy, the bar manager, to blacklist Martha. Gregsy refused, saying Martha was their walking joke bank. Moreover, Gino, a coworker, sent Martha a dirty message from Donny's phone. This prompted him to call Jason, the comedy competition host, and reschedule the semi-final. Later, Donny met Terry again at another bar. They were having fun, but Donny grew anxious, worrying Terry might learn his real identity. Terry noticed his change in demeanor. Donny shared that he tried to politely brush off Martha, which was why he mentioned wanting children, but things worsened. Terry believed anyone reasonable would have gone to the police, suggesting he secretly enjoyed Martha's attention. After the bar, they took the metro to Terry's home. She noticed his hands weren't rough enough for a construction worker, his supposed job. When Terry asked Donny to kiss her, he panicked at the thought of public judgment and left the subway car, leaving Terry bewildered. Donny felt like a coward, ignoring Terry's calls. Near his home, Martha waited, expecting him to fulfill what he had promised in the message. When Donny rejects her again, she says if a man isn't attracted to her, he must be blind or not interested in women. Donny, fed up, spoke harshly to her, but it didn't stop her, as she believed Donny was obligated to marry her. Tired of her nonsense, Donny went home, but Martha followed. He pinned Donny against a wall. Feeling his rapid heartbeat, she thought it was because of her. That evening, Donny blocked Martha on Facebook and took time off work, hoping she'd tire of waiting. However, his fear remained. Liz, Donny's landlady, noticed he was troubled. He lied, saying his girlfriend had dumped him. Donny realized he couldn't ignore his problems and went to Terry to tell her the truth. Terry was hurt but agreed to listen. This time Donny was honest, admitting it was easier to pretend to be someone else. However, Terry no longer trusted him and kicked him out. He was devastated. To prove his sincerity, he changed his name and information on the dating website to his real ones. Today, Liz threw a party inviting old and new friends. When Martha, whom Liz introduced as Sheila, appeared, Donny was horrified. When Donny first moved to London, he lived with his girlfriend Keely at her mother Liz's house while they looked for a place. But 2 weeks turned into a month, then 6 months, and then a year. Eventually, Keely dumped Donny and moved out, leaving him with her mother. Shortly after, Liz's eldest son passed away. Donny's new life couldn't have started worse. Since then, Liz had coped with her loss by treating Donny as her son, caring for him. Living with his ex's twice-divorced mother was strange. Nevertheless, Donny appreciated Liz's positivity. And now, Martha had entered their lives, quickly gaining Liz's trust. Martha kept glancing playfully at Donny. The other guests had left. Martha accepted Liz's offer to stay the night. While Liz prepared a bed, Donny threatened Martha, saying he'd call the police if she didn't stop. The threat worked and she left. Donny couldn't sleep, knowing Martha knew where he lived and could stalk him there. He needed to go to the police but decided to try talking to Martha again. However, she had disappeared. Could it be that threatening her with the police was enough? Seemed too easy. When Donny spotted Martha at a bus stop near his house, he ducked to avoid being seen. He no longer felt safe even at home. Keely visited her mother's house and told Donny that his girlfriend had been sending her threatening messages. He denied Martha was his girlfriend, but Keely didn't believe him and asked him to deal with it. Martha began coming to Donny's house every day. When he left for work early, Martha was at the bus stop. When Donny came home, she was there. He didn't understand why she did this. Sometimes she tried to enter the house. To see Donny, Martha patiently sat at the bus stop for 15 to 16 hours a day. Time passed, it got colder and Martha changed. Now she just stared blankly ahead. Donny's compassion returned. One evening, noticing how cold Martha was, Donny took her to her house out of pity, covered her with a blanket and made her tea. Afterward, Donny tried to explain again that they weren't a couple, but it didn't work. Realizing Martha still believed he was her boyfriend, Donny told her he wanted to break up. Martha cried. To prevent hysterics, Donny said they could remember their relationship as a fairy tale, the perfect moment to end it. The next morning, not seeing Martha at the bus stop, Donny felt relief. Before the semi-final, Jason explained the rules. Donny didn't expect Terry to come, especially with friends, making him more nervous. Waiting backstage, Donny panicked as the audience laughed at his competitors' jokes. Then Gleena, the host, announced Donny done. At first he acted foolishly due to panic, but then he got into character. Despite his humor, the audience laughed. Everything was fine until Martha started singing. Donny hadn't noticed her. Martha claimed Donny was her ex-boyfriend. He denied it, joking someone forgot to close the mental hospital doors. This angered Martha, and she said Donny was stalking her, always at her house and emailing her. She showed some people the dirty message from his name. Security escorted Martha out. To save the situation, Donny joked he'd never invite his mom to his performances again. But no one laughed. It was a disaster. Donny didn't know what to do and didn't expect Terry to come to his dressing room. Terry intended to meet Martha and, as a psychologist, convince her to stop stalking, but Donny knew it wouldn't work and he planned to take Terry out the back exit. Hearing Martha's voice, they ran and hid in a cafe. Donny asked Terry for another chance. Despite her resentment, Terry stayed. Donny still regretted the ruined performance. Terry mentioned Donny had edited his profile on the dating site, which might mean something. Suddenly, Martha found them aggressive and insulting Terry. Terry, unable to take it anymore, said she and Donny were on a date. This was the last straw, and Martha attacked Terry, pulling out hair and scratching her face. Donny tried to intervene but was outmatched in size and strength. In the end, the security guard and Donny pulled Martha away from Terry. Donny told Martha firmly that he wouldn't date her even in a nightmare. Martha was devastated. Terry was frightened and Donny felt sorry for her ordeal. The next day, 6 months after meeting Martha, Donny finally reported the stalking to the police. However, he omitted details in his statement due to past trauma. 5 years prior, Donny had come to the Edinburgh Festival, a long-held dream. Reality proved harsh. He wasn't very talented and was ridiculed. To distract himself, Donny went to a VIP bar and met Darian O'Connor, a successful screenwriter. They talked and Darian agreed to assess Donny's abilities. This time the audience laughed. Afterward, Darian praised him and gave him his card. This was Donny's first success. For weeks, Darian helped Donny with his scripts and he improved. The audience grew and people enjoyed Donny's performances. He felt like a star, spending time with Darian in VIP bars, discussing shows until morning. Darian was unlike anyone Donny had met. However, Darian was addicted to substances. Hoping to become his co-writer, Donny became involved as well. But this success didn't last. When Darian suddenly left for London, Donny's success faded, and that time felt like a dream. Soon after, Donny enrolled in drama school in Oxford, where he met his future girlfriend, Keely. However, he missed Darian, who had given him confidence and hoped his life would change. Now Donny was back to being a nobody, which depressed him. But one day Darian called and Donny was overjoyed. Darian suggested they write a script together and Donny agreed. When they met, they hugged like old friends. Darian's apartment looked impressive. Donny showed him his 60-page script draft. Darian asked him to summarize it. Donny did, but Darian seemed uninterested. He suggested Donny try something to get high. Donny couldn't refuse. They talked until evening. Darian mentioned his house was only for a select few. Trusting Darian, Donny did everything offered. He was relaxed when Darian suggested getting closer. This deeply traumatized Donny, but Darian seemed intent on repeating it. The next time, Donny wasn't as happy to hear from Darian but still answered. When Darian promised his script would be approved by a popular TV channel, his doubts vanished. Donny eagerly met Darian and their connection resumed. Confident that success and wealth would come, he endured it all. They spent weekends together, but every Monday Darian became cold, sending harsh notes about the script by email and making him rewrite everything for free. Despite his relationship with Keely, Donny kept returning to Darian, believing it was his path to success. Of course, Keely disliked this, though she didn't know the whole truth. She understood Darian was using Donny, making him work for free. To this day, Donny can't forget how at 25 he watched 55-year-old Darian dance. At that moment, Donny almost didn't realize anything, being under the influence. But a clear thought entered his mind. The situation was wrong and dangerous. Donny tried to leave Darian's house, but the door was locked. He had a panic attack. Darian took advantage of his helplessness again. When Donny woke up, he felt terrible, unlike Darian, who was fine. Donny wished he had run away and never returned, but he stayed at Darian's for a few days. Later, he met Keely with flowers, apologizing for his absence. The worst part was the uncertainty. Donny didn't know what happened while unconscious. Maybe Darian never intended to help his career, just using him. But the worst part was that Donny stopped seeing intimacy in any form. This upset Keely and they soon broke up. Donny's life spiraled into chaos. He felt like everyone knew about his past. Insecure, he dreamed of revenge on Darian. Months passed and Donny sank into depression, leading an immoral life. He cried out. Gradually, things improved when Donny was around normal people. He wanted to forget his past but struggled to trust and feared intimacy and friendship. This continued until he met Terry. She was everything he wanted, but Donny felt unworthy of love. Martha's arrival oddly boosted his confidence. After reporting to the police, Donny was troubled that he was there because of Martha, not Darian. When the officer asked why he hadn't reported earlier, Donny said, "I don't know." He couldn't tell the whole truth. After the attack on Terry, Martha was banned from the pub but kept returning, threatening and insulting Donny. She invaded his life, telling people he traded her for an ugly woman. Wherever Donny went, Martha was there, poisoning his life. He lost sleep, fearing what she might do. Keely visited Liz's house, saying Martha had thrown Coca-Cola in her face. What if next time it was acid? Liz knew Martha wasn't who she claimed and her name wasn't Sheila. Donny admitted Martha had been stalking him for 6 months. Liz asked him to move out. He moved in with drama school friends, hoping for a fresh start. But it wasn't ideal as they partied nightly. Donny's hatred for Martha grew. Colleagues learned Donny was in a comedy show, likely through Martha. They pitted him because his jokes weren't funny, leading to workplace jokes. Donny spent more time at Terry's, who had forgiven him. They grew closer. Donny had what he wanted, a calm relationship. However, overcoming his prejudices was difficult. Terry was understanding, unaware it wasn't because she wasn't entirely a woman, but because Donny felt unworthy of love. After failed attempts to get closer, Terry lost her spark. Terry was also upset Donny hadn't gone to the police after Martha's attack. Donny wanted to, but shame was stronger. He went to the police station and reported Martha pinning him against the wall. Initially, the officer didn't think it was enough, but after checking, he confirmed Martha had a history. Detective Joanna Culver spoke to Donny, revealing Martha had been prosecuted for stalking a police officer. Detective Culver assured him they would talk to Martha. The police intervention brought Donny peace, a strange peace. He realized he missed Martha, which he couldn't understand since he didn't like her. Sometimes he fantasized about being alone with her, giving in to passion. Meeting Detective Culver again, Donny learned Martha agreed to social adaptation courses. He was upset at how easily she took it. Now Donny could pursue a restraining order, but did he want it? Terry was happy about this, feeling they could relax and enjoy each other. Donny's mother called, but he didn't answer, wanting to spend the evening with Terry. Donny didn't know his parents thought he was in an accident. Martha had told them. Donny realized Martha's stalking had escalated, now targeting his parents. She got Jerry's number by calling his office, pretending to be a client. Martha also called Jerry's colleagues, spreading rumors. Donny's mother asked him to explain. He told them most of the truth. They hoped the police would handle it. However, Donny was horrified when Martha called. How did she get his number? Donny contacted the police. The officer advised Jerry and Elle to file a separate report. Donny spent a week with his parents in Scotland and Martha kept calling. His father was hoarse from shouting and his mother reassured him. Since the police seemed unhelpful, Donny decided to act, feeling Martha was about to do something terrible. He met Martha, asking her to leave his family alone. Otherwise they couldn't be together. Martha was puzzled, thinking it was over. Donny specifically asked her to send a dirty email so he'd have evidence. Martha agreed to describe her desires. Soon Donny received the email, but Detective Culver called him for questioning. Martha had recorded the conversation where he asked for the email. Time stood still for Donny. What if Martha recorded old conversations where he joked and complimented her? It's unknown, but Martha showed police the email Gregsy sent from Donny's phone. But how to prove it? It looked like a provocation. Right now, Martha can file a report against Donny, though she hasn't yet. Donny was incredulous because he was the victim. Suddenly he realized that Martha had been deliberately manipulating him all along. She was a professional stalker. Terry was furious, not wanting to live in fear because of Donny's foolishness. Terry believed that Donny had initially enjoyed Martha's attention and unconsciously encouraged her obsession. Consequently, Terry ended their relationship. Donny was devastated but found a small comfort. Things couldn't get any worse. Or could they? The next day, Martha appeared at the bar. Donny was about to call the police, but Martha reminded him that he was also under police scrutiny. The threat worked. Donny tried to ignore Martha, who poured water and drank it. But when Martha insulted him and his ex-girlfriend, Donny finally snapped and told the pub patrons that Martha had been charged with aggressive stalking. Enraged, Martha smashed her glass into him. Donny retaliated. She became hysterical, screaming threats. The staff managed to remove her from the pub. Donny regretted ever showing Martha kindness. At his shared accommodation, strangers were always present, with alcohol and drug use prevalent. Despite this, Donny was determined to perform in the comedy show semifinals. However, he was internally distressed. His colleagues came to support him. Donny was the last performer. He went on stage, forced a smile, and started his routine. However, the audience didn't appreciate his jokes, and even his colleagues couldn't laugh. Eventually, Donny broke down and began telling his life story to the audience, including Darian's abuse. He couldn't hold back tears. Donny had always dreamed of fame, believing it would help him overcome the pain he felt on his unsuccessful journey. He spoke about offering Martha tea out of pity, which ultimately ruined his life. He should have stopped it earlier, but Martha's attention flattered him. Now Donny didn't know how it would end. Some audience members left, but Donny continued, revealing his relationship with a transgender woman. He couldn't accept her love due to self-hatred. Donny hated himself more than he loved her. Donny felt he had no strength left to run from himself. After speaking, he felt relief. Winning no longer mattered. Someone secretly filmed it and it went viral. Donny became a celebrity with invitations to shows and interviews. He was so focused on this new life that he didn't immediately notice Martha had stopped stalking him. Everything seemed calm until Martha called, having obtained his new number. She blackmailed him, threatening to tell his parents about the video. This happened at a crucial time for Donny's career. He went to his parents in Scotland, unsure if Martha was bluffing. It was better if they heard the truth from him. Donny told them everything and received their support. His parents said they would always love him. They hugged, crying. Donny felt he had done the right thing. That night, he slept for 12 hours, and the following days were spent with his parents in Scotland. He felt at peace. As his parents saw him off to the train, he still felt calm. He dozed off, and when he woke up, he had 50 voicemail messages from Martha. Arriving in London, Donny went to the police station. The officer advised him to wait until Martha sent threats. In the following months, Donny listened to Martha's voicemails, saving them all. Martha was obsessed with Donny, and he didn't understand why. One day, seeing Terry with another man, Donny was upset. He continued ignoring Martha's messages. When she threatened his family again, Donny reported her. Martha was arrested the next day. At the trial, Donny had mixed feelings, feeling sorry that Martha would no longer be in his life. When asked if she pleaded guilty, Martha tearfully said yes, calling Donny baby reindeer. The court found Martha guilty. Seeing her cry, Donny didn't know how to react. Martha was sentenced to 9 months in prison and banned from contacting Donny for 5 years. He felt empty. Life seemed meaningless. One day, Keely visited Donny, worried. He invited her in. Keely was shocked by his collection of materials about Martha. Donny explained he wanted to understand her. He had also quit comedy, realizing it wasn't for him. Keely wanted Donny to return to her mother's house, as it hurt her to see him like this. He agreed, understanding it was for the best. Liz was happy to have Donny back. Every time he looked out the window, he secretly hoped to see Martha at the bus stop. Donny found his old script, written for Darian. He decided to confront his fear and visit Darian. It was a strange meeting. Darian said he'd seen the video and thought it was brave. Darian offered to work with Donny again, promising it would be different. He agreed, unsure why. Leaving Darian's house, he almost had a panic attack. Donny kept all the voicemails from Martha. Walking down the street, he listened to them and went into a bar. After listening to a message, Donny learned Martha gave him the nickname, Baby Reindeer, because it reminded her of her favorite toy. It was her only good childhood memory. Listening, Donny cried. Martha's life had been worthless, and she had seen a light in him. Donny realized he had forgotten his wallet. The bartender gave him a drink out of pity, just as Donny once did. Here the story ends. I hope you enjoy this story.